Go ahead.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who have passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you joined us this evening, and thank you, Mike and Beth, for being here.
Yes, thank you, Mike and Beth. And I don't know if it's just me, but it seemed like you were losing sound just from time to time. Was that just me or Mike? Did you hear anything? It's
Yeah,
just,
Irene, yep.
oh,
Same
yeah?
thing. She was losing sound every once in a while.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't
I
know.
just,
We've got some thunderstorms here, so that might be doing it.
and Mike and Beth do too. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to have good reception, but no matter what, we'll ask Wolf to help us with this. I'm sure that he will. Um, I wanted to just tell you a little bit about Mike and Beth first, because although this book and this movie are so important and so healing, um, not everyone knows a lot about both of them, but um, they've both been present with everything that we do in helping parents heal, and we feel so grateful to them. And Irene and I were just telling them that this meeting means so much to us. And we're just so thrilled to be able to have both of you on here. Almost everyone in Helping Parents Heal has either read Wolf's Message or watched the new movie about the book, which was directed by Jim Spruell, or both. Wolf's father and stepmother, Mike and Beth Pasakarnis, live in coastal Georgia with their beloved dogs, Bolo and Zac. Mike is retired after working as a legal assistant for a construction law firm, and for many years, Beth was a house call veterinarian. She is not currently working due to illness. Wolf's passing forever changed their lives, but they have also experienced an unexpected and profound spiritual transformation, largely due to Suzanne Gieseman and the messages she shared from Wolf and the others on the other side. Mike is now directly receiving profound messages from the other side. Wolf, whose given name is Michael, transitioned too soon due to a lightning strike, but he is illuminating how we think about the afterlife. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mike and Beth. And I know that Mike had something that he wanted to read to start with. Is that right?
That's correct, yes. But first, I really want to thank you and Irene in Helping Parents Heal. You're really providing a tribe for the people that are really hurting and need to hear the messages that you provide and the teachings that you provide. We were so grateful when we learned of this organization, and I hope it continues to grow like it has every year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's
Thank
very
you.
sweet.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Pasakarnis, and this is Beth Pasakarnis. We're honored to be with you, fellow parents walking this sacred, heartbreaking, and ultimately transformative path. I'm the father of Michael Wolf Pasakarnis. Beth is the stepmom. He passed into spirit form in 2010 after being struck by lightning. And although that day changed everything, it was not the end. In some mysterious ways, it was a beginning. I speak to you not from a place of having healed, but from a place of ongoing transformation. Grief cracked me open, but through that opening, something astonishing flowed in. Wolf's presence, his messages, and the truth that our children are still with us. After Wolf's passing, the signs began. They weren't vague, they were intentional. He came through in dreams, synchronicities, symbols, and messages that defied logic, but felt absolutely true. And what I learned and what I know with all my heart is this: love does not die. Our children are still connected to us, not just in memory, but in presence, in energy, in soul. Wolf left behind evidence that he knew where, when, and how he would leave this earth. This wasn't coincidence. It was part of a deeper soul understanding. He knew because, as he's shown us, the soul has a blueprint. There is purpose behind what seems random. That knowledge shook our world and began to rebuild it. Wolf helped us see that we don't die when the body dies. We transition. And our relationships with our children don't end, they evolve. Wolf's passing broke me, but also rebuilt me. It awakened parts of me I didn't know existed. I've come to believe grief is not something to get over. It's a sacred teacher, a spiritual doorway. Wolf's message is not only comfort, it's a call to awaken, to become more fully ourselves, to carry the light of our children forward into the world. Thank
That
you.
is beautiful, Mike. Thank you so much. And I know that everyone on here probably feels just as emotional as I do hearing that, because that's exactly what this journey with our children does. It just shows us so much more. And the messages that Wolf has been sending you have been pretty incredible. I wanted to see a show of hands of the number of people who have either read the book or seen the movie Wolf's Message. Could you just raise, and maybe two hands if you've done both? um, okay, great, thank you. And if you are putting it on the screen, let's take it off so we can see each other still. But thank you, I appreciate it. So a lot of people already know about the story, but I would love for both of you to just give a synopsis of the story so that people that might not have seen or read Wolf's Message would be able to follow what we're going to be talking about. Is that possible?
Sure. Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, wait, before you start though, one thing that I really would like to do is to find out, because I've been wondering this myself. I know that when Wolf passed, Suzanne Giesemann came into your life, and she wanted to be here with us this evening, but was flying back from Omega Institute, unfortunately. But um, if you could just tell us how long after and how that meeting with her happened, because that's the reason that we're here. Obviously, it's because of Wolf, but it's because of the fact that she picked up on this, picked up on Wolf, and was able to write an incredible book and then put together an incredible movie with Jim Spruell and with you guys.
Okay, so we met Suzanne, which actually changed our lives and our spiritual journey at the ARE Center in Virginia Beach. The reason we went down there was to actually see Eben Alexander, who wrote a book, Proof of Heaven. Now, after Wolf passed, I was searching for answers like all of us do, wanting to know what happened to our children, where are they? So I would read book after book, and then I would give them to Beth and say, what do you think? Tell me, what your opinion is. And really nothing resonated with her until I read the book by Eben Alexander and gave it to Beth. And now because she's a veterinarian, she had the scientific point of view, and that book really, really got under her skin, and she wanted to find out more. And we saw that Eben was at the ARE Center, so we booked a weekend there. Little did we know that Suzanne was doing a presentation beforehand. We hadn't even known her, met her, or read any of her books prior to that. So would you
That's
like to?
amazing. So I guess maybe if you could just tell a little bit about Wolf before we get started with the other questions, about his childhood and then about his passing, because it's such an unusual story. That would be wonderful. Is that possible?
Sure. Um, Wolf, from an early age on, loved nature. He would spend more time when we went to a zoo or a park, or we had a friend over with pets. It looked like he was having communication with them because he could just sit down in peace, and the animal also reciprocated and sat down with him. So I believe that he somehow had a way to communicate with animals at an early age. At school, unfortunately, teachers tried to put everybody, say, in boxes. This is an advanced student, the student is up to date, the student needs extra help. Wolf didn't fit any of those boxes. And so he had difficulty at school in his classrooms, relating with other students too. So Wolf's mother, biological mother, and I separated when he was 2. So I remember going to a few child classes after school with the teachers, trying to understand from their point of view what they thought of Wolf's behavior, what they thought of his learning abilities. And no one really could get a handle on him. No one understood him. He always was talking about, I'm hearing these voices in my head. I'm hearing these voices in the head. And the first thing people think is there's something wrong with you. And as Wolf said all along, there was nothing ever wrong with his heart. He said that after he passed. So we dealt with that at an early age, but the greatest joy Wolf got was being outside in nature with animals, interacting with family. And, like I said, it was difficult for him to fit into the normal school structure. So we had to seek alternatives for him. And
So
so,
this goes along with another question. Did you see that he might be living in two worlds at once when he was young? Did you see any signs of his abilities? Or, I mean, I'm kind of thinking now of the telepathy tapes that I'm sure that a lot of people have listened to, that even though he was different from other kids, he was probably one of the most highly intelligent children in the class when he was there. Is that correct?
but misunderstood,
Right.
highly misunderstood. At that point in time, I did not know. I did not have the capacity to understand what was going on upstairs with him. So unfortunately, I was mainstream in trying to fit him into a box also and trying to get him the help he needed. But that was the wrong course of action in his case.
Well, it's pretty amazing how he has been able to communicate with the two of you. Do you feel like this communication that you have is almost as good or better than when he was here? Or do you, I mean, just in terms of the communication itself, not missing the physical wolf who was with you?
Well, shortly after he passed, we're talking days, both of us were being directed to do acts we have no idea we would have never done in the past. The very first one, which happened to be a really important sign, happened to Beth. Would you like to describe how the next morning?
Well, just going backwards, I had trouble relating to Wolf. I came into his life when he was, I think, about 15 or 16. And I didn't understand him, and he was in special programs because, as Mike said, he didn't do well in mainstream education classes. He was just too out there. He could not sit still and learn lessons. So yeah, in retrospect, we clearly can see why he did not do well as a child. How not only his peers, but the adults in his world didn't understand him. And so he was kind of, unfortunately, kind of streamed into special needs types classes, and he didn't fit there either. So he was very much a loner as a kid. But I saw a very strong connection with him and family. He was so loving towards his family and toward animals, all animals. And he and I, that was kind of our only connection, unfortunately, because I just didn't understand him, and I didn't want to step in and try to parent him because he was kind of a different kind of kid. But he would always pull me aside and say, what are we going to do about the dolphins that are getting caught in the fishing nets? And I'm like, well, I don't know, other than buying dolphin safe tuna. I'm not sure what I can do. And he was always just concerned about these bigger issues with nature and with humanity. And it was just hard to relate to that kind of conversation with him. And
That's,
so
oh, go ahead.
communication with us was tough, was challenging. And I'm just trying to get the kid to, you know, keep from giving his stuff away. He was always giving his things away. He would ask us to buy things, and we'd buy things for him, and he'd give them to someone who wanted them. And that's very frustrating as a step parent when you buy a new Xbox and the next week it's gone because he traded it for a hat because somebody wanted it more than he did. And now in hindsight, I see what a giving soul he was. But my frustration with him as a human was my error. And so now I get why he did all the things he did. At the time, I did not. And he's certainly a teacher for us. And just now I'm giving stuff away, but it just as a kid he had a tough childhood because he just did not find anybody that he could talk to and relate to and that would accept him and understand him as he was. We were just trying to figure out the best programs for him or the best way to teach him to be able to live independently and find joy in his life. And unfortunately, we couldn't understand where he was coming from. He would just draw pictures all the time and stuff I couldn't understand, mostly crazy symbols. And so usually he'd draw me pictures of animals, so I appreciated that. But he was just such a loving soul, but just trying to get him to where he could get educated and learn how to live on his own was frustrating as parents. And And when he got a little bit older, he was able to take care of himself and he found his own way. So we should have just stayed out of his way to begin with and let him find his path. But anyway, but no, I couldn't see that while he was here. That he was living that kind of a life in two worlds. It wasn't even a concept I would have been able to wrap my head around at that time. So I certainly wasn't going to see it in him. But since his passing, we've both been able to kind of appreciate how he lived his life and why he was that way. And it's admirable. It's, you know, what was frustrating is now just I have such admiration and love for.
Wow.
Yeah. And you mentioned communication with Wolf since then. So the morning after the notification was received by the detectives coming to our house, we went up to Burial Hill where he was struck by lightning. We were pretty distraught. We were able to locate the tree. And then Beth and I just wanted to retrace some of his stuff. So we walked around. And this is where the communication comes in. And somehow we have never done this before, but Beth was given the idea as we were walking by a florist shop to go in there and buy 2 red roses. And for anyone who's read the book or seen the movie, that was one of the signposts that Wolf left. He drew the tree where he was struck by lightning. He wrote the poem and he left 2 roses at the base of the tree. No one in either one of our families has ever done that before. Another communication we got from him the next day, Wolf's biological mom's family was down. We were down and we had to pick, unfortunately, a funeral home. So there were 3 in town. We got the addresses. They were all on the same road, which was Main Street, Route 3A in Plymouth. And so I'm driving my truck, everyone's in my truck. We come to the first funeral home and I just hear a voice say, keep going. So we pass it and I hear some grumbling in the back. Then we go by the next funeral home. And for some reason, it just said, keep going. My mind said, keep going. So we drove by the 2 funeral homes and then we had to drive quite a bit to get to the one on the edge of town. We went inside, made the arrangements. I had no idea what brought me there, but the next day, the funeral director called us up and said, I knew Wolf. I met him. He was in a cemetery collecting feathers for one of his rituals. He was dressed in a robe and he scared the bejesus out of me. Now, I was going to stop at the first funeral home, but Beth got the message about the roses. I was driven to go to the last funeral home. So he was with us. He was directing us immediately after he passed. So, you know, being open to that, I don't know how we were because our grief was just so heavy. The pain was intense, but he was able to get through to us to make sure that we followed those couple of requests. And it's been like that since too.
That's
Wow.
amazing. And now you're communicating with them. Irene, you have a question for them.
Yeah, I just wanted Mike, you know, I know most people know the story, but I'd love if you could just share how Wolf foretold his passing and what you found in his room after he passed to let you know that he knew exactly when and where it was going to happen.
Okay. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you the exact piece of evidence we have. This is Wolf's poem that he wrote, I think, the day before he passed. Spirit, a great healer, awaken from within my heart. Peace and tranquility flow like water. For the time has come to allow the light of nature to free my soul. And the next night, he was struck and killed by the light of nature. Now, also on this picture is a tree, and you can see the two look like roses sticking out of the base of the tree. Burial Hill is a hilly cemetery in the middle of Plymouth. And so it depicts what I believe, and a lot of people do, is the exact spot where he used to meditate, where he also had his last breath on earth. So he also drew some other things that are explained in the book. But
Beautiful. So that picture is one that you sent me. So I will make sure to post it with the video when I put it into Helping Parents Heal. Would you like for me to bring it up right now? Or I guess, was everyone able to see it? And if you weren't able to see it, it might be because you're not in speaker view, which would just be Mike's video, Mike and Beth's. But anyway, if I can definitely put that up
yeah,
later with the video as well. So, Irene, you wanted him to tell a little bit about this story, so that was amazing, obviously. I'm sure that you guys don't want to give away the whole story because hopefully everyone who hasn't read the book or seen the movie will be able to go and see it. But I also really would love to hear about what happened with Suzanne Gieseman the first time that you met with her. Did you have a reading at that event with Eben Alexander, or did you decide later to call her and schedule a reading?
No, we sat in on her talk, not knowing who she was, and she started out her talk saying, I wasn't always a medium. I just got into this line of work after the passing of my stepdaughter Susan, who was struck and killed by lightning. And both Mike and I just kind of were jolted by that and said, oh, I guess we should listen to this woman. We were called to be there for sure. And then obviously she went into her background as a Navy commander, and that got my attention because I know she has the integrity that she's not gonna make anything up. I really wasn't at that time all about mediums. I was just kind of going along with Mike on that journey, but I really wanted to hear Evan speak because he's a doctor and he had a near-death experience, and that was more of interest to me. But when Suzanne ever started her talk with her stepdaughter's lightning strike, I figured we probably were in the right place. And so after her talk, we were so impressed by her that Mike stood in line in her book signing line, but he actually didn't buy a book at all. He just wanted to ask her a question about his son. And so he waited to the back of the line. And when he met Suzanne, he asked.
yep. How did Wolf know where, when, and how he was going to pass? And she responded without hesitation, the soul knows. So, and she also mentioned we were the first couple that she had met who had a child who transitioned the same way that her daughter Susan did. And the next morning we were having breakfast and we noticed Suzanne came in and she was sitting at another table with someone else. And she turned over, she saw us, she got right up. She went to our table. She goes, I remember you from yesterday. I'd like to offer you a free reading. And she gave us her card. And so a couple months after that is when we made the connection with her for that reading.
Some of the most incredible readings that she has done have been readings that she's just been drawn to do. I think Patty and Dave are on here as well. That was also an incredible reading and it was a huge synchronicity as well, with a different book, but still one that she had written as well. And I find it fascinating. So did you have the reading at the conference or did you do it later on?
That was 2 to 3 months after that. She was on tour on the road, and it took us, for some reason, messages and emails got mixed up. So it was a little longer than we had anticipated, but wow, when it happened, it was amazing.
Do you think that you were convinced immediately that Wolf is still here, or did it take a little time?
Oh, there was no doubt. We were blown away. Even prior to our reading is when Wolf popped in on Suzanne 2 days prior. And so Suzanne gave us a preview of that unexpected drop-in. So we knew right away that this woman is genuine and she had some very soulful, heartfelt messages. And there's no doubt that was Wolf. There's no other way to explain what he came through with other than the fact that they came from him.
Well, and with her military background and integrity, and as you were saying, it's so interesting to me that she was so fascinated by Wolf that she wrote a book about him, first of all, and about you. And then she really wanted to, I think that as soon as she wrote the book, she wanted to make a film as well. That's pretty, and a lot of other people, I think, wanted to make a film from it as well. But isn't it amazing to think of the influence that Wolf is having right now on all of us, allowing us to see so much more after in this lifetime he was he had such a hard time communicating with people the way that he does now. Obviously, he was always giving things away. I absolutely loved that. I think that's adorable about the Xbox. I'm sure that that was something that was really devastating at the time, but of course he was like that. None of those things mattered to him. And anyway, Irene, I know you have other questions that you wanted to ask Mike and Beth as well. So go ahead.
Sure, I'm jumping around a little bit, but I'd love if you could talk about when you decided to leave Massachusetts and move to Georgia, how Wolf let you know that that was a good move to make.
Wow. Yeah. Um, Plymouth was about 20 miles away from our home in Mashpee on Cape Cod. So after Wolf had passed, we would go up there on special occasions, his birthday, our birthdays, his anniversary, spend time on a tree, walk around town, visit the shops he used to frequent. So a month before our visit, we had flown to Georgia. We loved it so much, we put an offer in on the house and they accepted. So we were in the process of moving to Georgia. And this was going to be our last planned trip up to Burial Hill before we moved out of the state. And every time we went to Plymouth and every day of every year since Wolf passed, while I was in Massachusetts, I had his cap in my possession. So we were walking up the hill. I had the cap in my hand. And if you look at the cover of Wolf's message, the tree, there is his cap hanging from a knob at the base of the tree. So what I would do is we would walk up the hill, I'd take his cap and I'd hang it on the knob and then spend some time with Wolf. So this last visit in Massachusetts while we were living there, we walked up the hill and I swung around to put the cap on the knob and the knob wasn't there. The knob had fallen off the tree and I didn't know what to do. I was just standing there in shock and I'm Beth, what happened here? And I looked down the hill and there's the knob resting against a tombstone. So I walk down to the tombstone, I pick up the knob and I start going back to the tree again. And clearly in my head, I heard the words, Dad, it's okay to move. Not only that, but it just that I know he no longer could hang his cap on Burial Hill either. That was such a relief because I was so worried about not being able to be up there with him. But obviously, all we learned and experienced since then, it's not the spot where he left us. He's in our heart all the time.
Oh, that's just so
So that
beautiful.
was comforting.
If you could share with everyone two things, and again, we don't want to give away too much, but I believe there is an island near your home in Georgia that has a significant name, and also the picture that you found, which has something to do with where you're living now, one of his pictures.
Oh, okay. So when we came here, we just found a spot that was just beautiful and we just felt like immediately both felt that's where we wanted to live. And didn't know anything about this area, had never traveled here before. But we had, in just one weekend that we were here, we had a half a dozen signs from Wolf. That kind of, we both kind of knew at this point now, we're used to getting signs, that those signs were from Wolf, that this is the spot we were meant to be. One of which, the owner of the home we were buying, we were talking to, and he wanted to sell the boat with his home so he wouldn't have to take it with him or sell it to someone else. And so we decided to take his boat with his house. And when he was showing us the boat, the model name of the boat was Lightning. And then we went out in the boat with him, and he's showing us around and pointing to an island kind of directly off our coast here. And the adjacent island is Wolf's Island. And then there were just too many to name signs that we were in the right place at the right time. But after the fact, after we did move here, we found one of Wolf's paintings because we were hanging them in his room. And it's a painting of a wolf. But what we had never noticed before is that the wolf is laying down in a marsh setting where wolves don't normally live, with a creek with a dolphin in the background. And
I believe you have that. Excuse me. You have that? Could you
So
post
I
that
was
up?
going to ask if I could maybe
Yeah.
share my screen, if that's okay. So I don't want to take too long, but I'm not very used to doing this. So let me just see if I can get onto the desktop. Okay, I'm on the desktop and I have a whole bunch of questions here, which is good, but that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Now the pictures, this is why I said it might be better if you did this. The pictures are
Yeah.
here, and then there's one at the very bottom as well. So they're on the left-hand
All the
side.
way over to the left, second down from all the way over to the left. Yep, that's it.
There we go. So let's pull it up. And I'm going to make it bigger as well, I think, if I can. Yeah, there we go. Does everybody see that? Hello? Did I lose
Yep.
it? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
we see it. Yep.
Good. Okay, so this is in a marsh, and so there's a dolphin in the background. This is so
Right.
beautiful too.
So this is a lot down the street from our house. After we purchased a lot, and we used to go there because it was so beautiful. It overlooked the green spartina grass that you see. It's tough to see, but there's a meandering creek between the palm tree and the wolf, and there's like a fin of a dolphin sticking up there. The lot that we bought sits on the meandering creek, and we occasionally have dolphins swimming through there. At the base of the palm tree is a brindle-colored dog, and shortly after we moved here, we adopted a brindle-colored dog. The wolf has his paws on what appears to be a cedar log with an axe sticking out of it. So we have a lot of cedar trees on our lot that because of age fall down, and I chop it up and use an axe to split it so we can have fires on our dock out there. And again, how would Wolf know? It's uncanny and it's beautiful at the same time.
That's amazing. So would you like for me to pull up any of the other images while we're here, or we can do it later, if you'd like, if it's, are there other things that you
Yeah.
wanted to be able to show us from these? Actually, why don't I just bring this one up just so that people can see your beautiful poem, that you were reading earlier that Wilf wrote.
Yep.
And I think it's easier in this picture now to see the roses there, at the base of the tree, and the yin and the yang as well. Anyway, so this is something that'll be easier to see through the video. Are there others that you wanted to bring up right now?
The only other one was another signpost we received when we went down to ARE of the labyrinth,
Okay,
the dolphins.
since I'm not very good at,
Okay,
I can do it though. There we go. I'm gonna get there. I just need to go to the signpost. So, I know that's not right. Get that off.
maybe the third one from the left on the top.
Third one from the left on the top. So is it this one? The third one?
No. No.
No.
Okay. Third from, no, the third one from the left is
Okay.
not a Wolf's
That's
picture.
all the
So
way down. Yeah.
All the way down,
all the
Elizabeth?
way down? Okay.
No,
No,
it's
that's
not,
a beautiful picture.
not important.
That's
Okay.
right from his bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't we pull that up just really quickly? Just, it's so beautiful. So this is, okay, a picture of Wolf. And what is this picture on his wall? Is this something that is a poster that you had gotten for him?
That's a tapestry of a wolf. He had a lot of pictures and posters of wolves throughout his apartment, but this was just one wall in his bedroom. And, as was described, every inch of every wall and ceiling, including the closets, were covered like this with his poems, pictures of nature, and artwork he created. It was an incredible studio.
That's amazing. And he's so handsome. I just have to say that because he definitely has a striking look about him. And you can tell from his eyes, which unfortunately don't show on this poster behind me because they're too high up, that there is something otherworldly about him. But I have a question in the chat box. They're asking if you are in regular communication with Wolf. Mike, do you talk to him a lot? And let me go ahead and stop the share. There we go.
Okay. Besides the direction he was providing us during the initial reading with Suzanne, she said that Wolf comes to me every night, and Wolf actually told her to teach me how to journal and take notes while he was talking to me. So it took almost 2 years before I was able to really sit down and meditate and concentrate enough and receive these messages. And it's really changed my life. And I know everyone, every parent is capable of doing this. It's just a matter of a little dedication, quieting your mind, and just opening up your heart. And I know you can hear your own kids. But
So do
yes,
you do automatic writing with Wolf? Do you write what he's telling you down, or is it just something that comes to you verbally?
it's neither. I don't hear it. It's like a knowing in my head. And sometimes I have to search for the words of the point he's trying to get across. So I actually have to stop and try to put words to what is coming to me. It's hard to describe, but I would say it's a knowing that the words are there. I don't hear them, I don't see them, but that's how I receive it.
That's beautiful. And also, it's kind of like a game of charades, isn't it? I know that mediums talk about it being that way because you have to figure out the word that you're needing for whatever they're expressing. Um, I have some other questions about the pictures very quickly. What was written on the heart under his chin? Do you know what that was?
It says wolf.
Oh, it
It
said
just says wolf on it. Yep.
okay, good. That's easy. And then Liz is asking, were there two roses on the wolf picture or bulrushes? I'm not sure what that means, bulrushes.
To me,
There
they
were,
look like cattails. That's that's the word I come up with because they're a little bit more elongated, but they're very similar to the two roses.
Yeah, your own speculation. Yeah, everybody, how you
so
interpret.
Susan is asking, do you ask wolf questions or do the words just come on their own?
For quite a while, I was just sit and come up with the words. The words would come to me. And then I started to ask questions, yes. And then I started to ask him, let me know what I need to know right now. What do I need to do? How can I improve? And so every night is different when I come up here. This is Wolf's room in our house now. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna ask, if I'm gonna ask anything at all, but the words flow, whatever the topic is, or whatever I request, or if I don't request.
That's
Wolf wakes him up at 3 in the morning because I hear him get up and go upstairs. Yeah.
That's so amazing. So Susan is saying thank you for that answer. It's pretty incredible to think that you get woke. Obviously, it wakes you up. It's similar to what happens with Suzanne, and I'm sure she wakes Suzanne up a lot as well, still. But also, I was just going to ask Beth, do you get any of these messages? Do you have any of the are you able to hear Wolf as well, or is it just Mike that's experiencing this?
He's getting he's getting like journals full of messages, and the ones he's shared with me, I can tell you it's not Mike's words. It's not from him. I know this man. I know how he thinks and processes and writes. And when he reads me some of what Wolf's given him, it's definitely not coming from Mike's imagination or him trying to write something down. It's sprawled across the page haphazardly, first of all, but it's just not the terminology, it's not how Mike would write. So I have always been blown away when he shares them with me. Because I know that's straight from Wolf.
That
There's
is
no doubt.
so
But me
interesting.
personally, I don't get that kind of thing. But I do just sense his presence. And I know it's him. And I don't get words or here's what you should do or I'm sure I'm getting guidance because I just do things and I'm like without like why did I do that? And so I'm sure I'm being guided and I'm confident that he's present with me, especially now with my illness. I feel very strongly he's been right by my side through that whole thing, but not such direct communication as Mike gets.
That's really beautiful, and I'm 100% sure that you're right, that he is watching over you and making sure that things go well. But I also find it so interesting because Susan and Bill Van Oish, who are our Calgary affiliate leaders, she's a writer, and he's the one who gets all the messages from their son Greg, and she writes them all down. She was a journalist before, and she's so careful about writing everything down. So I find it very interesting because frequently that is the case, that one of the partners in a marriage or one of the parents gets all of the messages, and the other one, of course, believes all of this because what Bill gets has nothing to do with the way that he talks. He doesn't talk like that at all. It's completely different from his own language that he uses with Susan. So I think that that's very fascinating. Irene, did you have other questions that you wanted to ask?
Well, I'd love to have you talk a little bit, all of us that have experienced our children crossing over, have a new perspective on death and the afterlife. How has it changed for you, for both of you, since Wolf's passing?
Um, for me, I had always hoped for an afterlife. Was not raised in any religious family, so religion, I think, fortunately, wasn't part of my childhood, because I think religions sometimes are a little bit too narrow in their views, but all are saying the same things, that you treat people as you want to be treated, and you are kind and loving towards people, and that's what we're all here for. But so I believed in an afterlife, or at least hoped in an afterlife, and it kind of well, I guess I didn't necessarily believe in an afterlife because I needed evidence, being a doctor, a scientist, and I didn't really get that until Wolf's passing. So I have changed dramatically just in the signs, in what Suzanne's been able to bring through with Wolf. I now not only believe in an afterlife, but know there's an afterlife, and know that it's not really an after, it's more just a continuation of life. So that afterlife word is not even valid for me. It's just a continuation of our lives. We're just here for a short time, and we're learning whatever we're learning here, hopefully, and we're just moving on to the next adventure. And it's completely changed that, because I have a knowing, but now facing terminal illness, I also now have no fear of death. And that's been just more recent. I just have a feeling that I'm going to be fine, whether I stay here or I have to move on. When I have to move on, it's all going to be fine. So I don't have the angst about, am I going to live through this? Am I going to live another 6 months? Am I going to live to the end of the year? Am I going to see this? Am I going to be here for this? I have no angst about that, because I'm going to be here for all of it. I just might be in a different form, and all is fine either way. I hear Wolf says, you can stay there or you can come with me. What's the big deal? It's all good. So the fear of death has been, the lack of a fear of death has been just recently with my illness. And it's been quite a gift from Wolf to not only know that life continues on, and it's just we're just transformed. We just drop these flesh suits, these bodies aren't meant to live forever anyway. So, but we do. And I know that, and I know whatever time any of us pass is going to be fine, and we're still going to see everybody and connect with everybody, just in a slightly different way. So I know everybody's kids are with them and are trying to communicate and trying to give you signs. We're just able to get them a little easier from Wolf, but I hope that part of Wolf's message is that you don't die. You just evolve into another form.
Beautiful.
So
I don't know if
that's
you can see My eyes are darting because my window is in front of my computer and there is a lightning show going on here in
I
Hoboken
hope
right now. The sky is
Courtesy of Wolf,
lighting up
right?
as we're speaking.
he's liking this.
Yeah,
That's so fun. I want to say that that's so beautifully put, and I just think it's so important for all of us to understand that this is just our Earth school. It's one of the hardest in the universe, from what I've heard. But our kids are happy, healthy, and home, and we're still here in school, and it's not a bad thing because when you do think about the fact that it's just a blink of an eye before you can be with Wolf, before we can all be with our kids, but the most important thing that we can do while we're here is to make them proud. And I can't imagine how proud Wolf must be of the two of you being able to tell his story, to have this book written about him, thanks to Suzanne, which is also wonderful, to have this movie now that's so, so well done. That's won, how many awards has it won? Could you tell us the awards that it's won?
uh-oh. We're not up to date, but I know the Canes has a World Film Festival, and it's won 2 categories: Best True Picture, Best Mystical Spiritual Story. It won the Director's Choice Award at the Illuminate Film Festival. And I know Berlin Film Festival personally contacted Suzanne. They wanted that entered in the film festival because they heard about it through the Cannes Festival. It just keeps coming. The word is spreading, and you know, we didn't have a chance to talk about Jim or Suzanne, but we are so grateful. It's like all these people were put in place on our journey that just expanded our hearts. Suzanne, the teachings, how many people she's helping. We wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her. We wouldn't be discussing this. Wolf wouldn't have been able to help so many people without getting the word out. And now Jim stepped in. He's experienced a loss also. He understands from his heart and soul. And he put everything into that movie to make it what it is now. We are so grateful to them for all they've done to help. And I know the kids are always behind the scenes providing the support also.
Well, speaking of which, the song at the end of the movie was written by Jim and his son in spirit, Dakota. So I think that that's a very exciting thing as well, that he felt so in touch with his son while he was making it. He's going to be on the 31st. So hopefully maybe Mike and Beth can come back and speak as well. Maybe Suzanne will be able to join us as well, but Suzanne will be speaking to us a little bit later in August because she's got a huge schedule right now. So we are so excited to have been able to have the two of you on. Irene, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask or to find out? I mean, I know that everybody's saying they want to watch the movie. They're so excited about this. And so,
It's just such a beautiful movie. What a wonderful legacy that you have this. I love you both so much, and it's just so wonderful to have you in my life, and this is just incredible.
Yeah.
it is.
And every parent can do this. Every parent, talk to your child out loud, ask for signs and trust what shows up. Write to them, journal, dream, meditate, find your tribe. Helping Parents Heal is a great organization, and let the grief soften you, open your hearts. There's just, it's out there. Our kids are helping behind the scenes every day.
That's true. And they are so excited that we're learning to communicate with them. They're working as hard as we are to communicate with us as we would like to communicate with them. So they'll help us. I'm sure that Wolf is helping you every step of the way. And Patty's saying, I just opened a package of fruit rolls and the card in it was of a wolf. Isn't that funny? So I think that the important thing is that we have to start opening ourselves up, which I think everybody already is completely open to, all of the messages that our kids are sending us. I had a coyote run by just a little bit earlier, and I don't see a lot of them lately. And I know that it was just because I was supposed to see this coyote to remind me of your son, Wolf. And anyway, thank you so much for coming. We always ask everyone to unmute and say thank you. Irene, anything else before?
Thank you. Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Good
Thank
night.
Thank
you.
you.
Hey.
Thank
Thank
Blessings.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Bye,
much.
Beth.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank